Got ourselves a 2v2. Lizardmen and High Elves versus Wood Elves and Vampire Coast. Doth Pegasus sent this in. I believe it's just a ladder game, right? Like quick battle ladder, because you can get 2v2s on there. I don't know. Maybe it was him and 3 friends. I believe it was a ladder game. For the hybrid forces of the High Elves and the Lizardmen, we have a Kroxigor and Sacred Kroxigor rush with some skinks involved. Nakai the Wanderer, the Kroxigor Lord, leading them, and then a Beasts caster with Flock of Doom. You know, aside for the High Elves, we have a Mage cast, of course a Mage caster, idiot. Anyway, a Mage hero, Fireball and Burning Head. We have Tyrion, Heir of Venarian, wielder of Sunfang, savior of Ulthuan. Front line of Rangers, backed up by Archers with light armor and a couple Dragon Princes. On the other side, we had Bloated Corpses, but it looks like they're all going to die. Ooh, speaking of gonna die, it was a bait. It was a bait. The Bloated Corpses were to lure out some target to get Prey of Anoth Raymud and then triple Waywatchered by the Wood Elves. And the Bloated Corpse is gonna reach Rangers. So in the end, very good start here for the Wood Elves and Vampire Coast. For the rest of the build, it looks like that Mage of Fire is going to die. We do have a Glade Lord, the one with Prey of Anoth Raymud and the Arrows of Kurnos, triple Waywatcher, some Eternal Guard, War Dancers, Wild Riders, and the Wild Hunters of Kurnos in the far, far back. For the Vampire Coast, we have Carronades, Queen Bess, Celastra Diaphon, with all of her spells, and Zombie Deckhand mobs with polearms, then Handgunners. Alright, the Mage of Fire might rally because High Elf leadership do be strong. But the Vampire Coast player definitely seems to be a little bit newer. Their formation is a little too tight, doesn't take up a lot of space, and one of their Carronades ended up on the front line, so it's going to get taken out really easily. They're not moving their units super quickly. Plus, taking all of the spells on a Lord is never worth it. Really good Vanguard's Revenge down the side. I think it's angled in a way, though, that it is going to cause significant friendly fire. So, yeah, in the end, it didn't end up being a very good cast. So, Vampire Coast struggling a little bit. Start of the game going very well for the forces of the red team, though. Waywatchers do get caught by the Dragon Princes, though now those Dragon Princes are going to get surrounded by armor-piercing spears, and the Wild Riders are getting some decent charges down. Meanwhile, the Kroxigors going to start piling in soon. The pink Dragon Princes hold for now. The Wild Rider's going to try and get away, though they are running into the Sacred Kroxigors, so I don't know if they're just trying to attack them on their way in or something. Not super sure. Things are getting a little chaotic for the Vampire Coast. Their handgunners trying to fire back. Queen Bess getting rid of a couple archers, but Queen Bess is probably going to die soon, though it actually doesn't look like that many archers have attack orders onto Queen Bess. So I guess she gets a couple more shots up. They definitely should take her out, though. 1 or 2 volleys from those archers would kill the cannon itself, and then that's just a very expensive piece gone. Over here is a tough fight for the High Elves. The Lizardmen are cleaning up pretty good on it, but the High Elves are taking a lot of damage wherever they go. Their triple Dragon Princes all getting quite low as they fight the Wild Hunters of Kurnos and Spears. There's really no winning that for them, so they're trying to get out, chase off some other Wild Riders, get them off the map. But a Prey of Anoth Raymud, nice net to allow your Wild Riders to rally. Don't know if they'll get far enough away to rally, though. Looks like they are going to run off the map anyway, so unfortunately the net doesn't save that Wild Rider. It's just getting some damage on the Dragon Princes. Another Burning Head down the Vampire Coast. Coast losing a lot of their handguns, losing a lot of their everything, to be honest. Tyrion's already gotten a significant amount of healing, which means his Art of Avalorn went off, probably due to handgunner fire. Queen Bess still alive and kicking, so if I'm going to criticize the Vampire Coast for not optimal spell selection and deployment, I'm going to also criticize the High Elves for not taking out Queen Bess very early. They had the capacity to do it. Vangeist down the side. That looks like, yep, that's a really good cast. Barely hit any of your depth guard and just murdered 4 infantry around them. So Vampire Coast doing well in the late game here. Wood Elves are doing well on their flank. Wild Riders fighting on top of Spears consistently is pretty good. Getting a lot of damage out onto Kroxigors, though now they're starting to take a significant amount of damage back. Oh, yeah, Primal Roar from Nakai giving these Kroxigors juiced stats, and they are punishing the Wild Hunters of Kurnos heavily for this fight. Wild Hunters still getting good damage out, of course, but damage is damage. We have a couple Waywatchers back alive on that far side. Wild Riders trying to peel for them as best they can. The Fire Mage is actually back, which is a little surprising, as Tyrion 1v1 Celastra quite easily. Not a shock there with his magic damage. Her ghostly form doesn't provide her much respite. And of course, 35 melee defense does not stack up to Tyrion's insane melee attack. Even when charmed and Song of Enthralled, he still has 48 melee attack. Celostra slowly crumbles to death. Queen Bess is going to fire their last shots. They actually got to fire their entire inventory. Now they can just become a half-assed melee unit. And a big rout in for, well, the rout is occurring on the blue and green team. The High Elves and Lizardmen running for the hills as the dragon lands on them while they were surrounded by spears. Waywatchers, we still have 2 groups alive and kicking. One might rally. Positive leadership, very low model count. We will see. The game has been consistently since the start in the red team's favor, just slightly, though now it is going to be the Wood Elves versus in a 2v1 situation because their Vampire Coast compadres are all dead at this point. Nice Pravenoth Raymond to Tyrion right in front of the last of the Waywatchers, and with the Arrow of Kurnos coming in, he gets his last heal proc. He's now heal capped, and a dragon's going to land on him, getting a nice landing attack. Feint and Riposte, insane melee stats, but not enough when you're getting charged and in rear attacked. Tyrion keeps running away, trying to get to safety. Gladelord's going to chase him down. And yeah, the coasts are a spent force. They are almost officially gone. There we go. No more coast. Just Wood Elves versus High Elves and Lizardmen. Big Flock of Doom. Ooh, that was a nice Flock of Doom. Hit 3 units? Yeah, not the Ward Answers, just 3. Last of the Wild Rider is going to rear charge these Dragon Princes, who are very low on HP. Starting to lose models even to the non-armor piercing Wild Riders, but them being Dragon Princes, they will fight nearly to their last man before getting chased off the map. Gladelord lands onto Tyrion, really wanted to get that last shot onto him, but it's just not working out. Tyrion's melee stats are superior to your Dragon Lord. And now Nakai helping him out. Tyrion and Nakai chasing off this lady. Primal Roar and Foeseeker making Tyrion fast, rampaged, and once again cracked on stats. 115 melee attack for him as he is whooping this dragon's ass. The dragon tries to turn and fight back, but it's 60 melee defense for Tyrion versus 36 melee attack from the dragon. It'll get some shots in like we see here, but it's not nearly going as well as when it got to land on him for free. Now Tyrion is all alone. This could be a problem. War Dancer's going to get hit with a bit of a Sun Fang. It'll do a little bit of damage, but not everything. Basic archers firing another dragon. Waywatchers returning fire. And Tyrion does get off to safety with 770 HP left. Nakai is still fighting out with 700 HP, and the bounce power is getting closer to middle than it has been the rest of this game. Wood Elf infantry are all breaking. We still have Wild Riders in the back. It looks like they're about to run down a bunch of archers. Hopefully for their sake, they run into those archers. 4 Sacred Croc Swords with no HP trying to charge the Wild Riders, and they will get an uncontested charge. The Wild Riders killed their previous target, and they didn't get new attack orders in time, so they don't actually take another fight. Nakai is dueling the dragon, but it looks like the Wild Riders will be peeled off, so the High Elf archers will stay safe once again. Some late game micro mistakes hampering the Wood Elves. It looks like the Wood Elves are more focused on trying to get their Lord to safety and trying to snipe Tyrion at this point with just the Waywatchers. Trying to take him out, but the Gladelord overextended versus Nakai and Tyrion. The Gladelord is going to die. Wood Elves are in bad shape. Wild Hunters of Kurnos, the focus of all the archers that are left, and a Flock of Doom. Nice big charge in for them. Can't quite finish off Tyrion. He did get to safety. And the Wild Hunters are going to immediately terror out, and that's probably GG. A couple Waywatchers still staying in the fight. 1 Ward Answer. And the Waywatchers are focusing on the archers, not on finishing Nakai or the Croc Scores. A little bit too much damage spreading from the Wood Elves. They couldn't really focus up on one target, and it did cost them later in the game. Needed to finish off Tyrion with those Waywatchers, but they switched on to the archers. Needed to finish off Nakai and his Croc Scores and didn't quite get that done, so damn. GG. Very close game. Tyrion did very, very well, as he does these days. High Elf archers also did fine. Dragon Princes did fine. For Frost, that's who the Lizardman player was. Their skinks got largely wrecked. Croc Scores did okay. Yeah, they did okay. The other side for K-Hilp. So Lostra got good value with her Vangeist. The Handgunners got amazing value. Bloated Corpses, actually, 2 of them paid for themselves with a little extra. Crabs did fine. Queen Bess did fine. Talzin, the Wood Elves, Lord did very well. Infantry did okay. Waywatchers did okay. Wild Riders did okay. GG's. Roar. Subscribe. Yes, yes.